since my last vlog, I've had a couple of self-compassion sessions. Now, I did mean to do a vlog last week, I think, but I've been having flare-ups of mental health symptoms and physical health symptoms, and I've been in a lot of pain, so basically my days have just been a case of getting through the day and just trying to manage my pain best I can and just distract myself with things. So I've been doing a lot of gaming, but I feel today that I'm more able to do things like vlogging, and I'm a little bit more awake and productive, so that's good. So I thought I'd talk through the last two sessions that I had of self-compassion. I'll probably be reading off worksheets a lot because I was given a load of worksheets to look at and consider. And with self-compassion, like CBT, you get the homework as well, but this seems to be more problem focused, more specific. So for me it makes a lot more sense because it's more to do with the kind of problems that I have. Okay, so my second session we talked through this triangle thing, and it's called the drama triangle and the winner's triangle, and it's to do with the roles we take on, and you know, not everybody I suppose, but most of us, we take on roles like, okay, say the victim. So this is when we're feeling quite vulnerable and we feel like we need someone to sort of take over with making decisions maybe, or just being there for us or reassuring us. So there's times where you sort of slip into that role. Now it's not like playing the victim, it's nothing like that. It's more sort of feeling vulnerable and just needing someone to take care of us and feeling a bit lost, I suppose. So I suppose when in crisis you're gonna feel very vulnerable and unsafe and stuff, so that would probably be the kind of role that you take on whether you want to or not. There's also the rescuer, so that's kind of like the opposite really, where you're taking on the role of looking after the people, being there for the people, but to an extent with this drama triangle that you're sacrificing yourself, your own well-being and health for that other person. So for instance, I've taken on that role when I've stopped myself from having sleep, so I've not slept until like the early hours of the morning because I've seen that someone's in distress, maybe online, and even if I'm struggling myself, I've had this real urge to be there for that person. So I've talked to them, and even though I'm absolutely knackered, in pain, whatever, I put myself second, I put them first. So I'm being there for them, I'm talking to them even though I'm struggling too. So that's how I put on the rescuer role, and that's why it's sort of to an unhealthy extent, even though I personally would still do it, even though I know that I probably shouldn't put myself out as much as I have been. Now, the other role in this triangle is called the persecutor, and this is where you're maybe angry at someone or frustrated at someone, and you're letting out, putting your anger on them, you're having a go at them, or you're taking out your frustration on them, so to an unhealthy extent, so you're being quite nasty really. Okay, I hope I'm explaining this well. This is what I took from it anyway. And the winner's triangle is sort of the one you're aiming for. So, okay, let's take persecutor. Instead of having a go at somebody and being really angry, taking your frustration out on them in a really unhealthy way, you are taking on the role of being assertive. So instead of really ranting or raving at them, you're saying, you did or said this thing to me and I'm really not happy about it, this is why. So it's more of a constructive way of replying to them. With the... See, this is the bit where I get a bit confused. So the rescuer, instead of putting yourself out and sacrificing your own health and well-being to sort of look after the person, and you know, you're sort of doing it too much where you're mollycoddling them, you're being a bit of a parent to them really and putting them in a sort of child role. What you do instead is take on a caring role. So you're listening to their problems and you're sort of encouraging them to do the problem solving for themselves, so they're not as reliant on you. So you're not putting yourself out quite as much, you're not sacrificing yourself quite as much, but you're still helping them, you're still doing something like being a good friend or whatever. Now the victim role, what it says here is the winner's triangle role is the vulnerable role, which confuses me a bit because it's supposed to be obviously like a more positive thing, the winner's role, winner's triangle. What it says here, the skill to be developed from the victim, is problem solving. So I suppose you're trying to rely on yourself to solve your problems. So it's you're not relying on others so much, you're not feeling so much like you need to be looked after. So yeah, the role of the drama triangle each have their equivalent role in the winner's triangle. Each of the three roles in the winner's triangle is an OK role and requires the development of a different set of skills. So with this it goes drama triangle role, victim, winner's triangle role, vulnerable, skill to be developed, problem solving, drama triangle role, rescuer, winner's triangle role, caring, and the skill to be developed is listening instead of obviously giving them lots of advice and basically doing the problem solving for them. And the last bit is drama triangle role is persecutor, winner's triangle role is assertive, and of course the skill to be developed is assertiveness. So that's, in a nutshell, that's basically what this triangle thing is about. So my homework in session 2 was to have a read through and see how I fit into each of these roles sometimes, and consider how I can go from the drama triangle to the winner's triangle. So I'm better at sort of balancing how I act towards others, so I'm not doing myself any harm, I'm not putting myself out too much. So that's basically what it is. So the next worksheet is, the title is The Art of Appreciation, and it's about sort of shifting your focus to more positive things. So it's like the little pleasures in life. So say you wake up and the sun's shining and it's a really nice day, it's sort of appreciating that this day the weather is nicer, and you know, feeling the warmth on your skin, seeing how beautiful everything is outside because the sun's shining on it, or things like that. I'll read you one of the paragraphs here so you can get an idea of what it's all about. So it says, each day when you wake up, focus on the things that you like or give you just a smidgen of pleasure. For example, you may like being in a warm bed. So rather than focusing on how having to get out of bed is annoying, smile to yourself at the enjoyment you've had in being comfortable and warm, and how in just 16 hours or so you can return there. Of course, it's not easy to just do this, you know, we can't just be told think positive and we do it. So if you're very, very low or whatever, it wouldn't be expected that you do this, but it's something to consider and hopefully practice. So yeah, so it's I find it sort of similar to mindfulness, and that's something that I'm trying to do at the moment. So because I find that as long as I'm not too anxious or too down, it does help calm me a little bit. So I'll do this, I've been trying to do it sort of first thing in the morning, so I'm waking up and I'm sort of setting myself up for the day really, in the hopes of having a more positive day. So yeah, it's basically that. And yeah, there's this bit where there can be the negative part of the art of appreciation, so I'll just read this paragraph out to you. It says, there is, however, a flip side to appreciation. It can help us to feel lucky in comparison to others, but it can also trigger a feeling of being ungrateful at not appreciating things, and that we should enjoy things more. This is unhelpful and takes away some of the pleasure. Try to cultivate a playfulness and spirit of kindness in your appreciation, and then your appreciation can then be genuine. So yes, I guess it's a case of practicing this appreciation thing, and trying not to feel guilty if you're not appreciating things. It's not your fault, and I suppose that enjoyment of things has to come naturally. It's not something you should force. So that is essentially what that was all about. So I did consider, I did do the homework, and I considered the appreciation thing, and I think I gave it a go, and it's doable. It's difficult, but it's doable. Now, my next session I had to cancel because I'd been having a really bad day, really bad night. I've been having problems with my hips, and I saw my GP about it, and it looks like I've got bursitis. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I took from it, what I learned from it was that you get a build-up of fluid, I think, in your hips, and that can cause inflammation. And apparently you can get injections for it, I think like cortisone injections or something, but also physio is recommended. So actually I need to ring the number because I've got the self-referral letter, so I can book an appointment. So hopefully my hip pain won't be as bad if this physio helps. But if not, I think my doctor's going to consider the injections, which, whatever helps. Okay, so yeah, I had to call in sick for my self-compassion session. But yesterday I had session 3, and there's a few things here as well. And it was mainly about setting goals and figuring out where parts of my life where I'm least happy with, if that makes sense. So first of all was this sheet, the Wheel of Life, and it's a circle. I'll show it here. This is it. So it's a circle that's into segments, and you have career, money, health, friends and family, romance, personal growth, fun and leisure, and physical environment. So career, I don't have one, but I suppose things like learning, like courses and stuff, it's how happy you are with how that's going. So it's like development of a sort. So for that, because I haven't really been doing any studying in years, I put a 3 for that. So I'm still trying to learn things, but I'm not doing as much as I really want to be doing, so I'm not too happy with that. Money, well, I live with my parents, so it's not like I'm in complete poverty, but I am on a very limited income, so I'm able to feed myself, I'm able to pay my bills, and that's it really. I mean, I've got a bit of money if I want to go and buy like a cheap top or something, you know. I'm okay with that. I'm not expecting to be rich or anything at the moment. I mean, it would be nice, but yeah. Okay, next thing, health. Well, of course, because of my physical health and my mental health problems, I'm not exactly happy with how it's going. So I put a 3 for that. And because I've had flare-ups as well, and of course a problem with my hips, so that's it, yeah. Friends and family, I put an 8 for that. I'd obviously like to see my friends more, but that's on me to make that decision. But in terms of my relationships with my friends and family, at the moment I think that's going pretty well. I mean, I do have my doubts, like, about whether people still like me or not, but I know that's me, that's my issue, that's my problem, that I need to sort of reassure myself, because there's not really any hard evidence to say that people are falling out with me. It's just how my brain works, how I overthink things and read into things. So yeah, generally I'm happy with friends and family. Romance. Now, I'm not in a romantic relationship or anything, so what my support worker said was, well, for that section you can talk about the enjoyment you get out of things. So yeah, any hobbies maybe, although that would go into the fun and leisure part, I suppose. So I put a 5 for that. I mean, I'm not enjoying things as much as I like to, but I do appreciate some things, and that's not like the main thing I need help with, I suppose, at the moment. Okay, so the next thing was personal growth. So it's just sort of bettering yourself as a person, I suppose. It's hard to explain it really. It's like the kind of thing where you know what it means, but it is hard to word it. So yeah, I suppose being more aware of your privileges, being a more compassionate person, maybe just being a better person, and learning about life really. So it's what we all continually aim to do, I suppose. So the next thing would be fun and leisure, so of course hobbies go into that. And because I've not really, I've in the past like 6 months or so I've met up with a friend once, and other than that I've been so bogged down with things like political things, what's been happening in the news. Of course, this thing that happened in Manchester was absolutely devastating, and with the losses of lives, I felt it so deeply. I just felt awful hearing about this, and I really feel for the families of those who have died. So yes, I've been distracted, I suppose you can say, with that, and I've not really done a lot of things that I would consider fun. I've been trying to distract myself, but I've not really been there. So that's something I need to work on. And last one was physical environment. So that's where you live, whether it be the house you live in, the area, whether you're happy with where you live. So, and I mean, I have a small bedroom, we're in a small house, but it's enough for us, and we've got a garden, so pleased about that. And the area, it's not a rough area, it's quite a nice area. Yeah, so I've got no complaints about it really. So I'm fairly happy with my physical environment. I feel safe here, so that's the main thing. Okay, so the next worksheet sort of goes on from the Wheel of Life. So it's identifying where you are struggling or not happy with certain areas. And the next thing is called goal setting. So it's things that you can do that are within your control to improve certain aspects that you're not happy with in your life. So I wanted to do like short courses and stuff like that online to improve, well, I mean, say career, I'm not well enough to have a career, but I suppose for my own personal goals, development, that kind of thing. I enjoy learning new things, so you've got short term, mid term and long term for the kind of goals. Now I haven't filled it all in, but I think it's something I need to consider as part of my homework. So practicing skills that I enjoy, so if it's, say, doing any kind of psychology courses or a language course, or say a hobby like cross stitch, I suppose something like that, practicing those skills. So that's something I can do within the next week. Midterm is within the next month, so if there's a course I want to do, it would be like getting on with it, doing that course. So that would be my goal. The next one is health. Now there's only so much I can do in terms of my health, because my problems are long term. You know, there's no cure for them, so it's just a case of managing it as best I can. So I know that I take ages before I see the GP about concern I have about my health, because I always just assume it's part of the fibromyalgia, it's part of the BPD, it's part of the hypermobility syndrome, things like that. So, but with my hips, for a while, because I've been having it for over a month now, and I didn't really think to see the GP, because I thought, oh, it'll just be a flare-up. Well, not just, but you know. But the pain was worsening quite significantly, and it was particularly in that area. So I was considering seeing the GP, and at my last medication review, which was with the pharmacist, she asked if there are any problems that I need to see the GP about, and I mentioned that, and she said, yeah, you really should get that checked out. So yeah, I did that, referred to physio, that kind of thing. But what's one of my short-term type goals would be to be better at approaching the GP about health concerns, and to take notice of any kind of health problems. I mean, not obsessively, I suppose, but if there's something that's concerning me, then take notice of that, and if it carries on, see the GP, rather than just assuming it's part of my ongoing conditions. Also, mental health wise, that kind of thing, doing things like mindfulness and relaxation, that's a thing to practice. So hopefully that'll help a little bit. In terms of my anxiety, trying to do things to lessen my anxiety, it's find reasons to go out of the house more so I can challenge my anxious thoughts. So at the moment my goal, my short-term sort of goal, is to walk to the post box by myself. It's not far away at all, and the area, it's not exactly a busy area. There might be a bit of traffic, but it's not too bad, but it's enough to cause a decent amount of anxiety, so it's a reasonable goal to work towards. And for my mental health in the long term, it would be meeting up with a friend. So it's the getting out of the house, potentially being in a busy area, that causes a lot of anxiety, but hopefully if I can get myself to do it more, then the anxiety will lessen, because I'll see it as not such a daunting task, I suppose you can call it. Okay, some of these blend into each other because certain tasks can be to do with mental health, career, hobbies, for example. So the next one that needed working on was personal growth. So I'm not very good at asserting myself, so one of the short-term goals is to practice assertiveness. So if I'm criticised online, maybe, rather than ignoring it or blocking the person, whether it's constructive criticism or just someone trolling, maybe respond to that criticism and see how it goes, because the more you do it, the less anxious you'll feel about it, in theory anyway. What else? For personal growth, sort of mid-term, in the next month or so, maybe start something new, like a new hobby. Something I'd like to get back into, which I wasn't very good when I first started doing it, but I was very young at the time, is knitting. I'd like to make something, to knit something. I mean, start off with a scarf, I suppose. I'm not going to be doing any fancy jumpers or anything, but it's something I could do, and maybe that can be a present for somebody. So also a thing I want to do is learn sign language, British Sign Language. So have a look at courses that I can do for that, whether I suppose online at the moment because I can't do group situations. Okay, lastly is fun and leisure, and I was saying it would be nice to go to the cinema with a friend at some point. Now, I mean, there's people in the cinema in the screen, but because you're in the dark, you're not really acknowledging people there, so you kind of feel like it's just you and the screen. So that, for me, seems more doable. So that's a short to mid-term goal for me. The short-term goal of that would be see what films run at the cinema. So it's starting to plan what I do. Another thing I'd like to do again as a fun thing is bowling. I enjoy that. I'm not brilliant at it, but I enjoy it. And I've not done it since I've had to use a stick. I'm not sure what my balance would be like, but I want to give it a go. And, you know, it's a laugh anyway, so that would be a more long-term thing. I think maybe I need to manage my pain a bit better first. So that long-term goal would be make a plan to go bowling with a friend or more than one friend, so I can ease myself into sort of group situations, even if it is only a couple of friends. So I don't know if I mentioned this, I've been going on a bit, but the goals that you're supposed to set, there's 5 things that you need to consider for these goals. They have to be specific, so not a vague goal. And so going out, it's going out to place, certain place, like the post box, the cinema, or whatever. It has to be measurable. So that one I'm not sure of because it's similar to timely. So maybe with measurable it's a deadline, maybe, so within a certain amount of time. Okay, achievable. It's not too big a goal really, so you're not jumping from doing nothing to doing like everything, because you're not going to achieve that goal, especially if you've got things like anxiety. I can't just suddenly be like going from can't be in a group situation to aiming to go to a class, like say a sewing class, you know, like a hobby or something, or a psychology course. I can't just make that a goal because I'm not ready yet. So yeah, so that's achievable would be going to the cinema, because it's not as anxiety inducing as going to a class where you can see everybody round, but it causes enough anxiety that it's something I need to work on, if that makes sense. Realistic, again, quite similar to achievable, but also it's not too little a goal, so it's not something that you're easily going to do, and it's not really a bother. It's something that does actually challenge you, but it's not too much of a challenge that you would be setting yourself up to fail. And timely would be, again, very similar to measurable, so I suppose it's a deadline. So rather than wait until next year to go to the cinema, I'll aim to do it within the next few months. So then I know by this time, if I've done this, I've met my goal. So that was the main thing. And lastly, these things are to do with well-being, and this is like, well, I suppose it's sort of a poster. So this is something I might stick on my wall, so it's something to notice. And these 5 things are connect, so it's getting in touch with people around you, not isolating yourself. And be active, so keep yourself moving. It's not obviously if you're able to. So I want to try and maybe do a walk a bit more often. Even if it's just a very short walk, it's better than nothing. Yeah, so I mean, it says discover a physical activity you enjoy, so yeah, a walk. I mean, I can't exactly go jogging or anything like that. Take notice, again, that's to do with appreciation. So be curious, catch sight of the beautiful and remark on the unusual. So yeah, it's about like mindfulness, appreciating the little things in life, that kind of thing. Keep learning, which again from that table it's try something new, like learn something new or rediscover an old interest. So I used to play guitar, not very well, but I enjoy it, but I've not really done it in a while, so maybe I could go back to doing that. And lastly, give, which I think is something I do a fair amount anyway, in terms of being there for people and advising them. I at least try to do that. So it's doing something nice for a friend or a stranger even, being thankful, volunteering your time if you're able, looking out as well as in, so rather than just thinking about your own problems, maybe noticing other people's and sort of being there for them if they need you. So yeah, that was basically the sessions, and I've been going on for over half an hour now, so I think I'll conclude by saying that I'm really happy with these self-compassion sessions, and I've got at least one more, and I think it's helping me a bit. I mean, I probably sound a lot more positive today, which is good. And yeah, the kind of tasks I'm given and the kind of problems that are talked about in these worksheets are things that I can really relate to, so I find that this is the right kind of therapy, if you call it, for me. So my next vlog will be in a couple of weeks, because my next appointment is with my CPN next week, and it'll probably just be going over how I'm finding things, medication I'm on, the therapy stuff that I'm getting, that kind of stuff. So there won't be a whole lot to talk about in a vlog then. But the week after that is my session with my support worker, so hopefully there'll be some more worksheets that I can talk about, so you get an idea of what this kind of work is all about. So I will see you in a couple of weeks. I hope everyone's okay, and please subscribe if you like my videos, comment if you've got any questions or anything like that, and yeah, I will see you soon.